Maxwell Maltz was born on March 10, 1899. At the age of 24 in 1923, Maltz graduated with a doctorate in medicine from Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. Maltz started his career in the beauty industry, practicing as a plastic surgeon to make people look beautiful. But there was a problem. Usually, before people go to Maltz or other plastic surgeons, they always know what they want to change in their bodies. And these people often tell the surgeons, if I can get a perfect nose, I will be very beautiful. Or if I can have a big breast, I will be the happiest human alive. But it rarely happened. Maxwell Maltz found that his plastic surgery patients often remained unhappy even after they fixed whatever they thought made them ugly.
When you look in the mirror now and the image that looks back at you, are there days when you say, well, I kind of like this, or I like my hair today, or
I'm never
I think
pleased
I'm
with
pretty
myself.
cute today?
No, I'm pretty cute today. No, I try not to look in the mirror. I really do, because I'm never happy with what I see.
So, what's going on here? Maltz discovered that it doesn't really matter how much people change their physical appearance or how beautiful people look in the mirror. As long as your inner self-image is ugly, you will always feel ugly. Which is why in 1960, Maltz published his famous book, Psycho-Cybernetics. More on this later in the video. For now, let me make something clear. This video is not going to tell you that beauty doesn't matter, because it does. In his 1809 book, Elective Affinities, Johann Jote wrote, "Beauty is everywhere, a welcome guest." Saying beauty doesn't matter is like saying money doesn't matter. Studies like this, and many others have found that attractive people are perceived to be more trustworthy. They get higher grades just because of their look. They get jobs easier than most others, and they get paid 15% more than others. In fact, handsome criminals receive lighter sentences. This is due to a phenomenon psychologists call the halo effect. And yes, lookism, teratophobia, cacophobia, and fatphobia are all real discrimination ugly people face every day.
I can't fucking do it.
Go ahead and do it, the grass right there.
I can't fucking do it.
Yeah. We're just talking to y'all.
So being ugly comes with many disadvantages. But there is a big difference between being ugly and feeling ugly.
If you ever are wondering, if I have thinner thighs and shinier hair, will I be happier? You just need to meet a group of models, because they have the thinnest thighs and the shiniest hair and the coolest clothes, and they're the most physically insecure women probably on the planet.
Most of us are not ugly, but we feel ugly. To see the range of beauty in our world, you need to have a look at this chart. The chart on your screen now is the human's IQ distribution. I chose to use it as an analogy because there's no such chart for beauty distribution, but it's similar to the distribution of most things: money, height, or beauty in the realm of humans. In nature, it's usually that a few people have too much of something, and a few others have almost nothing. Then you'll see the majority of people in the middle of the chart. You can see this in human height distribution, or in the amount of money we have in the bank. When it comes to beauty, most of us are here. We may not qualify to be called a model, but we are not ugly. But there is a problem. You see, how beautiful any one of us feels doesn't have much to do with how we look or what's in the mirror. I think this is what the German philosopher Immanuel Kant meant when he talked about free beauty and dependent beauty. The human feeling of beauty is dependent beauty, and I'll talk more about that soon in this video. Now, let's address the reason why any one of us can feel ugly, even if we are the most beautiful person in the world. In the year 1950, developmental psychologist Erik H. Erikson published his book, Childhood and Society, in which he made his research known on the 8 stages of psychosocial development. It was through this famous work that we understand that How humans feel about their physical appearance has so much to do with the amount of love they received in their childhood. Erickson's stages of psychosocial development cover the entire human life, but for this video, we'll concentrate only on the first 3 stages: infancy, toddlerhood, and early childhood. According to Erickson, between the ages 0 to 1, the existential question humans ask is, can I trust the world? The answer we get for this question determines whether or not we'll trust the world, the people in it, and ourselves. According to Erickson, an essential trustfulness of others, as well as a fundamental sense of our own trustworthiness, develops at this stage. Between the ages of 1 to 2, the existential question every human asks is it okay to be me? Again, the answer we get from our primary caregivers, usually parents, determine whether we feel that we're good enough, smart enough, or beautiful enough. In fact, it is at this point most humans made a lifetime conclusion about how beautiful or competent they are.
Are you going to come back and race with us again? Yes. How old are you? 5. Oh, you're adorable. Do you want to thank your parents? No.
At stage 3 of human psychosocial development, our existential question is it okay for me to do, move, and act? And again, the answer we get from our caregivers at this point determines whether or not we'll believe in our abilities or conclude that we're not capable, not good enough, or not attractive. According to this 2015 study published by the University of Washington, by age 5, human self-esteem had already been established. Yes, we live the rest of our lives growing up and down in the hierarchy of self-worth, but that's due in part to another thing I'll discuss later in this video. For now, my objective is to make something clear, which is how beautiful any of us feels has little to do with what we see in the mirror. Instead, the individual feels good or bad about their body as a result of their early childhood experiences. People who spend their first 5 to 10 years with their parents or adults who made them feel loved, cherished, and beautiful get to their adulthood feeling beautiful. And people who experience neglect, abused, or are starved of love get to their adulthood feeling worthless and ugly, regardless of how they look in the mirror.
Why?
Because I'm hungry.
Because you're hungry, now your life is ruined?
This leads us to another important point.
My skin, always perfect.
According to this study published by Harvard Business Review, the more advertisement you consume, the less life satisfaction you're likely to have. In the study, Professor Andrew Oswald and his team at the University of Warwick compared survey data on the life satisfaction of more than 900,000 citizens of 27 European countries from 1980 to 2011, with data on annual advertising spending in those nations over the same period. The researchers found that the higher a country's ad spend was in 1 year, the less satisfied its citizens were a year or 2 later. But why? Why does advertisement make us unhappy? Well, the primary purpose of advertisement is to make you feel incomplete. It's like, hey, smart people drive this car, so you can feel dumb till you buy such a car. Now, when it comes to beauty, it's even worse. It's like, beautiful people look like this because they use our product. According to Statista.com, beauty and personal luxury advertising spending in the United States are estimated to reach $7.5 billion in 2021. Now, if $7.5 billion is being spent every year to make Americans feel ugly, we can easily conclude that more than $50 billion is being spent every year to tell everyone in the world that we are ugly. Now, take a moment and think about what the beauty industry does. These guys take certain people who look in a certain way and portray them as having ideal bodies and beauty.
Today, if you search the word beauty, you'll end up with a sea of fair-skinned, thin, young women, as if good looks don't come in any other form.
By comparing the rest of us to a few people with certain looks and bodies, it's easier for us to feel ugly. In his 1725 book, An Inquiry into the Original of Our Ideas of Beauty and Virtue, Scottish philosopher Francis Hutcheson wrote, and I quote, "Beauty is unity in variety, and variety in unity." Hutcheson argued that beauty was neither purely subjective nor purely objective. In the 1979 edition of Art and Philosophy, Readings in Aesthetics, the German philosopher Immanuel Kant was quoted as saying, "There could be no universal criterion of the beautiful. Of course, my wife doesn't look like this or like this, but she is beautiful in a different way." According to the Italian philosopher Thomas Aquinas, beauty is that which pleases in the very apprehension of it. So in conclusion, if this chart represents the distribution of beauty in human species, then some of us are truly ugly, the people here, and a few of us are extremely lucky, the guys here. But for most of us, even though we don't have angelic beauty, we're also not ugly. In his 1960 book, Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz wrote, "You will act like the sort of person you conceive yourself to be." We have to understand that having a different body from the kind the beauty industry is obsessed with doesn't make us ugly. We have to accept our bodies and faces. We have to love what we see in the mirror, and we have to understand that it's okay not to have a perfect face, a perfect nose, or a perfect body, because in the real sense of it, there's no such thing as a perfect body. In fact, this 2010 study published in The Guardian found that absolute flawlessness in your look can be disturbing to others. And finally, we must understand the tactics of the 21st century marketers who make us feel that we're not good enough except we buy their products or change something in our bodies. Society, too, has a way of making you feel ugly, and that is why I am eager to share with you how that happens in the video right on your screen now. The video on your screen now shows you how society daily tries to make you feel bad about your body and how you can be free from such evil pressure. Click the video on your screen now and see you inside. Thank you.